Hey guys, just a reminder, this is a practice quiz, so you're going to want to have a paper, pencil, and calculator ready to go. And remember, this whole idea of this video is not for you to watch it, it's actually for you to do all the problems. So after each problem, I'm going to read it. I'm going to tell you to pause the video, so then you're going to go ahead and pause, and then you do it on your own, and then play the video and see how you did. And I believe there are one, two, three, four, five, six problems. So there's going to be six problems, six times you're going to pause and do each problem on your own and then check it. All right, so here you go. Now they have a paper, pencil, and calculator. Go ahead and the first problem is the question would be, do the following two ratios form a proportion? Go ahead and pause, and then as soon as you're ready, play the video to see if you got it right. All right. So for this problem, what you should have done, asking if something is a proportion is essentially asking, can you set these two fractions equal? Well, there's many ways you can solve this. One of the ways that we learned in class is that if this was indeed a proportion, you should be able to cross multiply, and the two cross multiples should be equal. Well, 3 times 9 is 27. 7 times 5 is 35. Well, since these two are not equal, these two do not form a proportion. 3/7 is not the same thing as 5/9. You could not set them as equal. Another way you could have done the same problem is if you would have divided 3 divided by 7, you would have got 0.428. And if you divided 5 by 9, that fraction's decimal is 5 divided by 9 is 0.55. So the two decimals of these two fractions are not the same. Therefore, these are not equivalent fractions. And again, this does not form, the answer is no, does not form a proportion. All right, here's number 2. What is 45% of 130? Go ahead and pause the video, try it on your own, and then play it when you're ready. So for this one, a couple different parts. I know it says is, but it says what is. Therefore, you don't know the part. You do know the percent, and it says of 130, so that's the total. So I set up my percent proportion. It's always the part over the whole equals the percent over 100. Well, I do know the percent, 45 over 100. Of 130, that's the total, and I don't know the part of 130. So I make my percent proportion. I cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 45 times 130 is equal to 5,850. So the two cross multiples are equal, and then I just have to solve for x. Solving for x is, since they're multiplying by 100, I'm going to divide both sides by 100, so I'm left with x equals. And when you divide this number by 100, you get 58.50, or 58 and 58 and a half, or 58 and 5/10. So that means 45% of 130, the part would be almost 59 out of 130 would be 45%. And our answer is right here. Go ahead, here's the next one. I'll read it to you, and then you can pause when I'm done. For the end of the year party, Mr. Katz surveyed 30 students in his star. Okay. Because obviously I couldn't ask everyone in the school. 6 of them said they like pizza. So 6 out of the 30 students. How many students would you estimate would like pizza out of 300 students? Because I want to know for the entire grade, which is 300 students. Go ahead and solve this problem, and when you're done, pause the video. I'm sorry, play the video when you're done. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our proportion. Okay, this isn't one that necessarily is asking you for a percent, so it's not going to be anything out of 100. But my percent is I asked 6 out of 30, and I want to estimate to a bigger number. Instead of there being only 30 total, I want to know how many out of 300. Now, obviously, if 6 out of 30 say they like pizza, that doesn't mean out of every 30 students, only 6 are going to like it. Students like different things. So this is an estimate. But I can set up this proportion. I could cross multiply. 6 times 300 is 1,800. And then if I divide both sides by 30 so I can find out what x is going to equal, cross those zeros out, 60. So that would mean that if I asked 300 students, I would estimate that 60 would say they like pizza. Okay. Next one. Right. So here I want to know, I'm giving you two different problems, two different things of water that have lemonade mix in there. So I put 4 scoops of mix with 6 ounces of water, and then another time I put 12 scoops of mix with 20 ounces of water. And I want to know which one would be stronger, have a stronger lemon taste. In order to do this, it's good to make a ratio for, actually, let me go ahead and pause the video, try it on your own, and then once you're done, play the video. So when I did this, I would actually first make a ratio. 4/6 is 4 scoops, 6 ounces. This one is 12 scoops, 20 ounces. So what I like to do, you could actually just divide 4 divided by 6 and 12 divided by 20, but I like to know and set each of them. So instead of knowing how much is in 6 ounces of water, I want to know how many scoops are in 1 ounce of water. So instead of the 6, because it's the denominator, I'm going to put a 1 there and put in x over 1. So 4 scoops, 6 ounces, how many scoops in 1 ounce? And I'm going to solve this proportion. You get 6x equals 4. I divide both sides by 6. And you get x is, you get 0.6 repeating. Well, that means that you have 0.6 mix in 1 ounce of water. In this one, I'm going to do the same thing, 12 scoops in 20 ounces, but I want to know how many scoops in 1 ounce. So I cross multiply, do that over here. You get 12 equals 20x, divide both sides by 20, and 12 divided by 20 is 0.6. So they're actually pretty close, but one of them has 0.6 repeating, 0.66 mix per 1 ounce, and this one only has 0.60 per 1 ounce. So this one, because it's more per 1 ounce, would be a stronger lemon taste. Sam eats 5 pieces of sushi in 7 minutes. How many will he eat in 30 minutes? So again, this is not, go ahead and solve this problem and then play it when you're ready. So again, this is not asking you for a percent. This is asking you to take a piece of information, 5 pieces of sushi in 7 minutes, and make a proportion with a bigger amount of minutes, or you could actually have done a bigger amount of sushi. Excuse me. So instead of 7 minutes, I want to know what the fraction put it to 30 minutes. So I don't know how many pieces of sushi, so I'll put a variable there. Cross multiply. Divide by 7. Oh, sorry. 150 divided by 7 will get us what x equals. So about, I'm going to change that to an about sign, 21.4. So you eat about 21 pieces of sushi in 30 minutes, knowing that you eat 5 and 7 minutes. I think this is the last, nope, yep, this is the last problem. Go ahead and do this one after I'm done reading it, and then see how you did by playing the video. As students entered the school, I counted, said at the door, I counted that 7 and 12 were in the 8th grade. So 7 out of the 12 people that came through the door were actually in 8th grade. What percent of these students were 8th graders? Go ahead and try it and then play the video. So if 7 out of 12, so that's the ratio of 7/12. This is 7, which were in 8th grade, out of 12 total people. Well, what percent? In this case, I want to know the percent. So that would mean that I'm going to do, instead of putting a bigger number, it's x out of 100, because this would be the percent. I'm going to cross multiply. 12x equals 700. Divide both sides by 12. You get about 58.3, or you would say that's about 58% of the students that walked through that door were in 8th grade. If I asked how many were not in 8th grade, you would just subtract from 100% and say the remaining is 42% were not in 8th grade, because 58% were in 8th grade. Okay. Hope that helps, and yeah, hope that helps.